So certainly a day of reflection for France. Let's speak to Anne-Elisabeth Moutet, who is a political commentator and columnist at The Telegraph, and she joins us from Paris. Anne-Elisabeth, of course, this has been a difficult day for France, but also at the beginning of the day we saw that huge military parade and we saw this reaffirmation of the relationship between France and the United States. It got off to a bumpy start between Macron and Trump. What do you make of it today?
Oh, today they were each serving the other's interests. So that was a win-win situation in so many ways. Mr. Trump, of course, is under a great deal of scrutiny and criticism in America, with lots of awkward questions being asked, even at the press conference yesterday in Paris about his ties or his family's ties to Russia. And so looking presidential and being greeted in Paris by President Macron, and actually having this whole trip in Europe with the important speech that he made in Warsaw and his presence at the G20, that was sort of relieving the pressure of it. And in terms of Macron, of course, he is making the point that the diplomatic point center of Europe is now France. Mrs. Merkel came this very morning, yesterday morning, I mean, when Mr. Trump arrived the afternoon, and they had talks. Before that, last week, 2 weeks ago, he received Vladimir Putin at Versailles. Now he had President Trump next to him in a position of equality. And you had this idea that France was especially since Britain now has left the European Union, that France was the major power, nuclear power, major military power speaking for Europe.
Now, of course, we did see the vulnerability of France as well, that horrific attack that happened exactly a year ago, and the commemorations taking place in Nice. Of course, this shocked Nice. It really rocked Nice to the heart, and France itself.
That is certainly, it's important, but it's also something that is bringing the French together rather than sort of splitting them apart. And the fact that President Macron gave so much importance to this whole event was also one way of bringing the French together. At the same time, that is a way to sort of be. So I would say that in many ways was important. And the other thing is that unfortunately France, as other European nations, as Britain, as Manchester and London have shown, are in the same situation. So that is more bringing together our common destiny and our common threat more than anything else, I should say.
Anne-Elisabeth Moutet, political commentator, columnist at The Telegraph, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts.